ओके डियर स्टूडेंट्स, अब चलते हैं अल्टरनेटिंग करंट लेसन 24. What I should suggest you when you watch my videos, for example, if you are watching alternating current, watch from lesson 1 and proceed. Don't watch in between, because they have been prepared in such a way. Each lecture has some bearing with its previous lecture, and the previous has some bearing with its previous lecture. So go through one by one, beginning with lesson 1. So this is also a small theory. It will take about 5-6 minutes, and I have just 2 more videos to finish your alternating current by today evening. So the power factor of an AC circuit, right? For an AC circuit containing a pure resistor, pure inductor, pure capacitor, we had previously derived this relation, the power consumed, in one complete cycle. In one complete cycle, the power consumed, one cycle T. And it was E naught over root 2 or I naught over root 2 cos phi, and the cos phi was called the power factor. And this value, this E naught over root 2, E naught, this was your supplied voltage. E was equal to E naught sin omega t. This is the maximum value of EMF, when the sin omega t is pi by 2 or multiples of that, so that sin pi by 2 becomes 1. 1 into E naught is E naught, that is maximum, because the maximum value of sin is 1. And we had also derived E naught over root 2 was called the ERMS or the virtual voltage. Similarly, I naught over root 2 was called the RMS current or the virtual current. This was also defined in terms of how much heat a resistance can produce in a time t, as is done by some constant current. So it was that value, and similarly this was discussed previously. So your expression, the power P becomes E virtual I virtual cos phi, virtual EMF, virtual current, cos phi. This ERMS called the virtual, for India it is 220 volt. So if you cross multiply these two, E naught will be root 2 times ERMS. E naught will be root 2 times ERMS, and ERMS is 220 volt. 220 into root 2 comes out to be 311.12, something like this. This is the peak value of alternating voltage that we get in our household. Now, what is power factor? What is power factor? This cos phi is called the power factor. So from this expression, if you keep cos phi on one side, this is multiplied, this comes to the left hand side, so P over this. This is called your true power, this is called your virtual power, right? So this term is called power factor. This is a number. Cos of an angle is a number, it is a number, right? Now I have also explained you impedance triangle. This triangle, when I derived impedance for a RLC circuit, means the total resistance Z was equal to R square plus XL minus XC square root of that. Squaring on both sides, it had become Z square is equal to R square plus XL minus XC whole square. This is same thing as Pythagoras theorem, so they can be represented. R can be represented by one side of a right angle triangle, XL minus XC can be represented by another side of a right angle triangle, and Z is up there for obviously the hypotenuse. And I had also explained to you why this side is XL minus XC, why not this side. That also I had explained to you in previous lessons. So from here, this the power factor, which is defined as true power by virtual power, so your cos phi from this triangle. cos of this angle. The side in front of the angle is called perpendicular. Therefore, this is your base. So, R is your base. This hypotenuse, which is Z, is your hypotenuse. So, cos phi is the base over hypotenuse. So, R over Z. R is the resistance. Z was the impedance. That is this. That is the total resistance offered by a circuit containing R, L and C. So, from here, if you put cos phi, if you put the value of Z, this comes out to be this. Now is interesting. Now the next part is interesting. Now look here. If XL is equal to XC, means the resistance offered by the inductor and the resistance offered by the capacitor. The name of this was inductive reactance, which is also resistance offered by the inductor. The name of this was capacitive reactance. That was also the resistance offered by the capacitor. That is a non-inductive circuit. Means if these two are equal, then from here this minus this becomes 0. Means we are left with Z is equal to R only. Means only resistive. Circuit is only resistance dominated. So if these two terms becomes equal, your total resistance called impedance Z becomes equal to R from this expression. So the circuit is called non-inductive, right? Means resistive. So if XL is equal to XC, that is a non-inductive circuit. Now cos phi will be, now if XL is equal to XC, this minus this, if these two are equal, this minus this 0. Now square of 0 is 0. R square plus 0 is R square. Square root of R square is R. R cancels with R, leaving band 1. So cos phi is equal to 1. So if both these things are equal, you can put it here. This is equal to this. That is omega L is equal to the value of this is equal to value of this. Means omega L is equal to 1 by omega C. Under this condition, there was a resonance, and we had derived the resonance frequency also. Nu was equal to 1 by 2 pi LC square root of that. Means at this frequency of the source, these two are equal. So this denominator terms becomes equal to R. So R cancels with R. So 1 cos phi is 1. So cos phi is maximum. So cos phi is equal to 1, that is maximum. If you look at the triangle also, if you look at the impedance triangle also, applying this condition, XL equal to XC, you also get phi is equal to 0 degree, that is cos phi is equal to 1. Let me explain. If XL is equal to XC, this side of the impedance triangle is represented by this. If XL is equal to XC, then this minus this is 0. So the length of this side will become 0. If the length of this side becomes 0, then this line, the hypotenuse, from this point to this point, which is representing Z, will, when this side becomes 0, then this side, which is representing Z, will become like this, means phi will become 0. If XL is equal to XC, the length of this side is represented by the magnitude of XL minus XC. If XL is equal to XC, XL minus XC is 0. So the length of this side will be 0. So this line, which is representing the impedance, will become like this. Means Z will now become equal to R, and phi will become equal to 0. So that is another way of explaining. So if XL is equal to XC, phi becomes 0, cos 0 is equal to 1, that is equal to maximum. That is another way to understand. Now for a circuit containing capacitance only, means there is no inductance, there is no resistance. We had derived these two expressions, EMF and current. For a circuit containing capacitance, the current was ahead of the EMF plus pi by 2. So this is the phase angle phi. So for a circuit containing capacitance only, for a circuit containing capacitance connected to an alternating source of EMF, E is equal to E naught sine omega t, your phi is equal to pi by 2. So cos pi by 2 is 0. So cos phi is 0. So cos phi is 0. Therefore, if you put here cos phi is 0, 0 into this thing is 0. So no power is consumed. No power is consumed. So a capacitor does not consume any power. Does not consume any power. But an ideal capacitor. Then for a circuit containing only inductor, only an inductance L. Only an inductance L means like this. Inductance L connected across an alternating source of EMF, E was equal to E naught sine omega t. For this, we had separately derived in previous lessons that if E is equal to E naught sine omega t applied across a pure inductor, your current was ahead of the EMF, current was lagging behind the EMF, lagging behind minus pi by 2. So if you compare this expression and this expression for a circuit containing inductance connected across alternating EMF, your phi is equal to pi by 2 and your cos phi is pi by 2 and cos phi, cos 90 is 0. So if you put this value here, phi is equal to pi by 2, cos pi by 2, 0. 0 into this thing is 0. So the true power is 0. So no power is consumed in a circuit containing a pure inductor only. Means the power factor is 0. So it consumes no power. So therefore current in a capacitor or inductor for its maintenance consumes no power. So the current that consumes no power, which current? That flows either in a capacitor individually or either in an inductor individually, they do not consume in power. But if there is a resistance, it will consume power because for a resistance, phi has some value. So to maintain the current in a circuit containing C or L, for the maintenance of the current, the capacitor as well as the inductor, they don't consume any power. Such a current is called ideal, not ideal, ideal current, ideal current or worthless current, ideal current or worthless current.